I know it's not truthful, but I try to because I know how it is to be so anxious.
Something about positivity too.
Yeah.
You want people to keep up a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Until they know something.
You're good like that, though.
Yes,
You're good at
totally
giving
good.
very positive, a different spin on things, or look at it this way. You're very good with that.
Yeah,
You're
I am
good
not.
advice
I'm
giver.
like,
No.
you're dying,
I'm
and
just-
I'm really sorry,
Yeah.
and I love you, and
Make sure my nails are done.
I will make sure your nails are done.
I've
I am
spoken
not good.
to Jen about this and Jess, and just when I die, make sure my nails are done.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I will haunt you.
Welcome everyone to 3 Girls, 1 Office, where we talk about all the fun things.
Keep it
You're
on.
good?
Keep
Oh,
rolling.
wait a minute.
It's great.
Can we cut that out?
No, we cannot. That's the good
Okay.
stuff.
Okay, we're going to try this again. Welcome.
Take
to
2.
3 Girls, 1 Office, where we talk about all the fun and unique things that we women or anyone, really, this is for every and anyone, that you might talk about around the water cooler at work or with your best girls.
Mm-hmm.
We are here at Westchester Studios in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Westchester Studios is a phenomenal place to record a podcast. They have an amazing setup here. They are so knowledgeable, so easy to work with, and we're so lucky to work with Gabe and Matt. Highly recommend Westchester Studios. Today, ladies, we're going to talk about, we're calling this episode, Would You Want to Know?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to talk about today is something, I'm going to tell a story, my story, about finding out through genetic testing of that I have the BRCA2 gene. But just in general, you can get blood work and genetic testing now and all these things. And I know some people have said to me, I wouldn't want to know
Right.
because I just want to live for today. That's fine if that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, knowledge is power. And I decided to go forward with genetic testing because that was what I was comfortable with. But what led me to doing the genetic testing was years ago. I don't know exactly how many, but less than 10 years ago. I come from a very large family. My dad's one of 8 kids. And so Christiana Hospital had approached the family about doing a genetic study because they were seeing, spots of breast cancer, prostate cancer, things like that, ovarian cancer. And so this was an opportunity to look how the gene passed through a big, large family. So it was kind of a cool thing because you had the opportunity, okay, I can
Sure.
kind of find something out. So if your parent, basically how it went was if anyone opted to do it, if a parent had, tested positive for the gene, then your children should go ahead and get tested.
Sure.
So I tested positive, and my brother, of course, tested negative. But I'm so glad he did. I don't. I was happy to hear that. So once I found out I tested positive, instead of doing the normal Stephanie freak out and cry, it gave me a lot to think about. So BRCA2, if you carry that gene, you have a much more likely chance, almost certain chance that you're going to have breast cancer and possibly ovarian cancer. BRCA1 is even more aggressive. So I decided, pretty much right when I got the result, I was like, you know what? I'm going to really monitor this, and I'm really thinking I might get a double mastectomy because why not?
Sure.
Why worry? Have this worry.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I had a mammogram scheduled shortly after I got the genetic test done and got the results. And the mammogram, I got the mammogram done. They're like, okay. And all of a sudden they come in the waiting room. They're like, wait a minute, come back. We have to ultrasound you. We see something. I was like, oh, geez, Louise.
Wow.
So they went ahead and did that. They thought they saw something. They knew I was BRCA2, which was actually a great thing that they knew because they immediately sent me to get an MRI a couple of days later. And the MRI didn't see what they saw in the right breast. In the left breast, they found another mass.
Wow.
They're like, so I was like, okay, well, for once in my life, I think I can make this decision almost. This is I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it now. So within that week, I had appointments made, with a breast surgeon. Just, I was consulting with my doctors, and I went ahead and just moved forward with scheduling a mastectomy. And it's not. I realize this is not an easy surgery. It probably sounds very scary because it's a big deal, but I try to have a positive attitude about it, and I went in just like, I can do this. And I made arrangements. I mean, it's a lot of appointments and arranging. I had 2 at the time. This was 6 years ago, so my kids were younger. Thank God my husband was supportive, and I have a supportive family, friends, and I went ahead and I did it. And when I got the pathology back, it took 5 hours to get everything they needed, but it was negative, so I didn't have to have any further treatment.
Good.
Everything was negative for cancer. So that's kind of the quick version, of my story. And then down the road, I had to get a full hysterectomy as well because there were some concerns as well for ovarian cancer. So I am kind of a shell of who I once was. And we can get you. You guys are welcome to ask me anything about that. Sure. But I chose to have reconstruction. I feel amazing. Everything went well. I'm probably one of the lucky ones. I know some people find cancer. They have to go on with treatment. We have friends that have gone through this. But in my case, I'm really happy with the results.
Yeah.
My body bounced back. And I'm here to say that I am glad I found out.
Yeah.
I wanted to
There's
know.
no regrets. Yep.
But, I know there's all kinds. Now it's like, okay, now I can think about all these other things that are genetic in my life.
Right.
Do I want to know? So,
yeah.
Now that I've told you my story, like, tell me, would you want to know? Would you have done what I did? Or have you been faced with something, an opportunity to take a test or get blood work and thought, I kind of want to know?
I don't know that for something that I know there could be treatment for, and that is something that could be deadly, I think I would want to know. But I know we've talked a lot about my father's situation with Alzheimer's, and he got it at a young age, and my doctor has always offered me the chance to get DNA testing, and I am not planning on doing that at the time because I think for that, whether there is no cure, where there is, as far as I know, there is lifestyle changes that you can implement. One of the biggest things is strength training, which is why one of the many reasons why I love going to Gage. The other scenario, is there's things you can take like supplements and stuff, which I'm implementing certain things. And I think that's how, if I were to know for something like that, for example, I feel like every time I forgot something, I would torture myself.
Yeah. And
that I've got it,
and
so I don't know that it would serve me.
Right. And there's not like a procedure. If they say, Jen,
if there was,
you have the gene.
Yes.
And you can just do some lifestyle changes. Why? It's not, you can't have a procedure. So,
that's exactly right.
But knowing there's lifestyle changes, you just make those. I
think that's a better way to put it. I think I was trying to say that in the sense that, if I know that I could stop it and prevent it by doing something that can help prevent it, then I would do it. Absolutely want to know. But if I, like for example, with my father's scenario, I can't prevent it that I know of in a more confident way than other than the things that we can change. But like with my brother, he had colon cancer at a very young age, under 50, and we all did get tested for that, my brother and myself, to see if we, not necessarily the gene, but we all had the colonoscopies at a very young age before, they say over 45 or over 50, whatever it is. Get one, by the way, if you haven't. And but so taking those preactive measures and
so you want to know to a point. You're open to knowing.
Sure.
Yeah. What about you, Dee?
I think that I probably feel the same as Jen.
Yeah.
If there was treatment to prevent. History on both sides of my family are like heart attack, stroke,
right,
cancer, lung cancer, brain cancer, and I think I think I would want to know.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
when I went through my pseudotumor process of getting diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
it was back in 2016, I think, 2015. Joe's uncle was battling brain cancer. And I remember sitting, and, he's not my uncle,
Sure.
which my uncle was sick at the same time as Joe's uncle with lung cancer. So,
Right.
But I remember sitting in that doctor's office, and they're like, brain tumors low on the list. And I was like, oh my God. And I did spinal taps and MRIs and things like that. And I mean, it was.
So that's how they came to the diagnosis, obviously.
Yeah, based on my symptoms that I was having.
Which were?
I couldn't go. I woke up the Monday after my bachelorette party and was like dizzy. Like I'd go from sitting to standing, and I'm like, oh, I'm so dizzy. Like I must have just drank too much. And then it kept going and going, like where I would sit down, like I would be sitting and these lights would be too bright. And I just was so uneducated. I just kept thinking like, oh, maybe it's because I'm planning a wedding and I'm anxious and or maybe then it was like, oh, I'm having a low blood sugar issue. Like I was telling myself all of this stuff without even just like, it's not normal to get lightheaded to the point where like my vision would go gray. I would stand up, my vision would go gray, and then it would be completely clear again.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and that was happening almost every day, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For 6
I mean,
months before I went to the doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Like now, when I think about it, like all these years later, I'm like, I get a pain in my finger. I'm like, oh my God, they have to cut my finger off. Like,
I think we're all like that. I think all three of us are kind of a little bit like that.
The range has gone from like, I was about to go blind. I'm like, it's just low blood sugar.
Yeah.
And I went for a routine eye exam, and they were like, we think you had a stroke. And I was like, and I immediately had to go the next day. Like, they made me an appointment down in the city.
Right?
No. Mm-mm. No. Is that?
We're ringing.
We're ringing. We're important.
We're VIPs here.
And so I had to go through all this testing. And the testing, it wasn't like immediately MRI, immediately spinal like it took a couple months.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I could have a brain tumor. And then you're looking at your loved one who's going through.
And it's terrifying you. Probably.
Terrifying. Joe's uncle lived 2013. He was diagnosed, and he passed in 2016. So he lived 3 years.
Right.
Some decent quality of life, and then others not. He had surgeries and stuff like that. But my cousin a couple years ago passed of brain cancer. So then you get that in your head, like, okay, now it's my side of the family.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think with hers, it started because they say it can start in your body and travel to your brain, but it can't. Cancer can't start in your brain and travel to the rest of your body, I believe.
Okay.
Tell me
it's
this.
Too.
Not to interrupt.
No.
I'm just thinking about this. Was your cousin someone that was like us? Like we're like, oh, we're gonna like the minute something's wrong, you're at the doctor.
No.
Or she's just like, finally something was happening. She got to a point.
Yeah,
where
she had
like,
slurred speech,
Wow.
and a backache. I mean, and it ended up she had lung cancer that I guess traveled to her brain. Now her dad, my uncle, had lung cancer as well. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But my dad is good. My dad goes, he's like us. He goes to the doctor I don't go to the doctor for everything, but he is very much on top of his health. So I feel confident in that. But, as you get older, you're like, my dad's one sister had a massive heart attack I think she was in her 50s. Like,
wow.
So that kind of stuff, you're like, I don't know that you can prevent a heart attack other than eating healthy and getting yourself together and not being a smoker. Yeah,
and if you know heart disease runs in your family, you make an extra effort, I believe, to just really watch the things you do.
Yeah.
So, I think those things are important. But as far as like actually finding out something that can actually possibly happen to you.
Yeah.
So it is like it's interesting, but I never had a doubt for this particular thing because I think we're seeing, especially being women of our age, we're seeing these type of cancers happen to a lot of friends and family, and just other even just seeing anyone go through any sort of cancer. It's like you want to do what you can to avoid those things.
Yeah. I think your story in particular, I think as a woman, at a certain age, we all get mammograms. Mm-hmm. We all have to have that waiting period of that nervousness and the stress. Like I would definitely, if I knew I had that gene and the chances were greater, I'd want to know and I'd want to be proactive. And
right. Yeah. It took, like, after I had the surgery, it took 2 weeks. They took so much, like they took lymph nodes and everything. Wow. It took them 2 weeks to tell me that I didn't have to, because if it was cancerous, they would have just done like probably some radiation just to be sure they got everything. So but I was healing and everything, so I wasn't my normal psychosomatic self. Yeah. Like I wasn't crazy, but I was a little bit anxious toward the end of the 2 weeks. Like I'd like to know.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, getting to this age it's kind of a scary thing because we're faced with seeing loved ones and friends and family and just people around us like go through all these different things. So you think, how would I handle that differently? Or what if it was me? What would I do? So I know we all take our health very seriously. I think that whole thing for me really solidified that life is short. Yeah. And I don't, I want it to be as long as it can be.
Sure.
So I'm glad that I did it. I'm here to say if people are scared of actually having procedures or surgeries that can help them, this particular, I mean, I had 2 pretty big surgeries and I do it again in a heartbeat. I really would. And I know there's a lot of fear. And I'm not here to convince people to do something they don't want to do. But I'm an open book about it because it's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable.
I'm just having heartburn.
Issues?
I'm good.
Okay. We have to take Dee to the doctor.
I know. Well, I can go to my special room that I have reserved at the ER that I go to. So
I know we're just living in this crazy time where there's so many things going on. It's like, do we go to the doctor for every little thing?
100%. And when you see social media, when we talked about in our previous episode, like you're seeing all this stuff go on, and immediately I read like one symptom. I'm like, I
have it. Yeah.
I've got it.
Yeah.
And I've got to go say goodbye to my kids. Like this is what so it's tough.
But a couple years ago at work at school, I had a coworker and she came in and her arm was swollen. And she's like, I think there's something wrong with me. And I'm like, I don't know. And it was more like there was something obvious like going on. And in my brain, I was like, oh my God, this is not good. But I'm telling her, it's probably fine.
As you're sweating?
Yes.
And like shaking?
And, And so she's like, I don't know. I can't lift my arm. And I'm like, oh, it's probably like, I don't know, spider, but I don't know what Yeah. But like in my brain, and I said this to her later once we realized she had cellulitis. Something where if that goes undetected, I mean, I think that's pretty rough.
Right.
But I was like, well, now that I know you're okay, like in my brain, I was like, she's dying. She's going to lose her arm. And we're going to have the robotics team like build her something that she can still teach.
Yeah.
But like, I'm so good, I feel like, at like trying to calm people down. Like, you're totally fine. Yeah. It's just a headache. And in my brain, I'm like,
I'm never going to listen to you again.
I know. I know it's not truthful, but I try to because I know how it is to be so anxious.
Something about positivity too.
Yeah.
You want people to keep up a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Until they know something.
You're good like that though.
Yes,
you're good at giving very positive, a different spin on things, or look at it this way. Like you're very good with that.
Well, I am not. I'm like, you're dying, and I'm really sorry, and I love you, and
make sure my nails are done.
I will make sure your nails are done.
I've spoken
I am not good
to Jen about this. And Jess, and just when I die, make sure my nails are done. Mm-hmm. If not, I will haunt you.
Good outfit.
I'm going to do it.
A good makeup job, too.
Oh, for sure. We've got all these great products. Are you kidding?
Right. But then it comes back again to that dark humor. I hate dealing with such sad things. So I always try to it's not that bad, or it's not. Yep. Now, Joe did blood testing. I think it was the company is called Function or Function of Health or something.
Blood panel.
Yes.
That you can do.
And the whole time I was nervous. I'm like, yeah, you're probably fine. I'm like, oh my God, what happens if it comes back? And and now he asked if I wanted to do it, and I kind of do. Again, to knowledge is power. If there's something, but I'm also nervous.
Can you check off what you want to know versus what you don't want to know?
Yeah, I mean,
there's that MRI, or is it a PET scan that you can get? I think it's called like Peruvo, or I'm not sure. You can pay to get this PET scan or a full body MRI to see, and I'm like, sign me up, and can I do it every single month? Like that's how I want to do it. But is it that a good or a bad thing? Because I mean, one little thing, like she has a hangnail, I'll be like, please remove the finger.
Yeah.
I think to a point. I think what we're getting to here is to a point. There are things that it is good to know, but then there are some things. If there's nothing that you can do about it whatsoever. I think what we're learning here, and from just the lives that we live, that just being as healthy as we can, living a healthy lifestyle, we're doing what we can.
Yes.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day, and taking care of our bodies and our minds. If there's some things that we can know, that will definitely have fixes. But if we know every little thing, I mean, I can only take so many supplements. I can only do so many exercise programs, and I can only eat so many fruits and vegetables a day.
Right.
So it's like, at what point?
Yeah. When is it healthy to know the things, and when is it going to be worse to know the things?
Yeah. And I think for me, I get nervous about what if I did have something that I needed treatment for, do you want to go through treatment? I've watched these people I love go through treatment, and they're sick and they can't get out of bed. And sometimes I feel like, is it almost worse to do it?
Right.
And should you just, I have no idea. So those are the things that I kind of think of too. If I'm sick, what would my course of action want? What would I want to do?
Sadly enough, my father got very sick with his situation, and my father-in-law had he had lung cancer that went to the brain, and this was all happening within the same time. And my father-in-law had a different approach to his treatment course and what he wanted to do. And, you absolutely put yourself in those person's shoes. Like with my father, he didn't know, we were deciding what kind of the treatment we wanted for him, and there wasn't really a lot available. And then sadly, they both passed within 3 months of each other. But it does make you think, if this were my fate, what would I do?
Yeah.
And I say to my kids now, if I do, end up getting what I have, there are ways to treat it, and here's what I would want you to do. Those conversations are hard to have.
Yeah.
But important.
And my father-in-law knew that what he had was fatal, and he knew he didn't have a whole lot of time, so his course of action was, just a different approach. And it did make you think, because you think immediately, I get diagnosed with cancer, I go get treatment. And, not everybody thinks that way, and it's hard to think another way than what you would do.
Yeah,
so it's tough to
because sometimes
navigate.
that obvious answer, don't you want medicine to help you feel better?
Right.
You know what?
Right. And to what point is it quality versus quantity?
Yes.
Did either of you watch Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix?
No.
Okay, I watched that a few weeks, maybe a month ago. It's kind of an interesting. It's about a girl who became a woman in Australia who became an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
And she pretended that she had she was surviving brain cancer, but she was lying. But she went into being a holistic, natural health influencer, and the people that really had terminal cancer or very advanced stages of cancer were following her and doing what she said and going on all these crazy trips into the jungle to get these treatments, and then they would have loved ones please just get the regular, standard treatments in the hospital. But she ended up going to jail, getting in a lot of trouble. But it was an interesting story because it showed it kind of showed there's all these different schools of thought of how you can handle illnesses or different diagnosis. And in this case, some of the people that followed her ended up not having very good results, and and it was really sad. But I also respect, everyone has to do what's best for them.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was pregnant with my oldest, just thinking about, gosh, you get pregnant and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to think about the health of another human being and all these things. And I remember someone said to me, when you pick a pediatrician, pick someone you trust, because then you have all these decisions to make, like, what vaccines they're going to get and this and that. And, everyone has different feelings on that. And so it's important. Someone said it's just really important to go and meet with these different pediatricians. It's almost like you have to interview them.
Yep.
And go with someone that you really trust and feel good about.
Sure.
And I did that. And I was like, whatever they say, and, I'm going to follow their guidance, because this is who I chose, this is who I trust. And the minute I feel any other way, I'll look for someone else. But that's the true thing. You have to find people in that you trust.
Right.
Whether it's your doctors.
That is so true.
Doctors and like nutritionists and, people who, whatever course of action you're going to take in your life to get healthy or to, face different diseases.
And who understand you as a person, you know, because, when you go into the doctor, you can go to one doctor and say, listen, I have this pain in my hand. Yeah. One doctor may say, oh, it's nothing, just feel it out, and then do like several different courses to get to the point where, okay, now you're going to get an MRI or whatever. Right. But like if your doctor knows you and like my doctor knows me, I walk in, I'm like, I have an itch here. All right, here's your MRI. Like, because she knows that I'll be up for, 5 days, won't eat, won't sleep, and, start getting my things in order if I don't get the MRI. Yeah. So having that relationship with someone that trusts, that understands how you behave, crazy or not, not crazy but crazy. They order the testing that needs to be done, because at the end of the day, she knows that I'm going to come back 6 times.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So she's like, let's just rule out the things that you're worried about and then go from there, which I appreciate so much.
Right. And I remember like a couple different doctors have said to me, especially when it comes to my kids, don't go on Google for every little thing. Oh my gosh. Don't expect you're going to get like 50 answers. But if I go on Google, if I want to know about something, I'm not going to go to some random health influencer. No. I'm going to look at like Mayo Clinic or something like that, where it's like, okay, these are like more the credentials there are, And I have a stepdad that's a doctor, so I do tend to run things by him because I trust him.
Sure.
So it's nice to have people in your corner that you know.
Well, if you guys ever have anything, I am a certified Google doctor.
Yes.
And I can diagnose all your things and so tell you that you're not going to die, even if I think you're going to die.
Well, right. Jen's sweating in the back. I Googled before I got my anxiety under control, I think I was Googling symptoms every single day of my life. I had gone to dinner, and it was a very salty meal. And I remember, like, the napkin was like a cloth napkin. And so, like, I kept wiping my mouth and whatever. And at the end of the night, I'm laying in bed, and my lips were, like, twitching. And I'm like, this is strange. I Google it. And it said that I had Lou Gehrig's disease.
Okay.
And I'm like, I feel like there's a step between like chapped lips
and
Lou Gehrig's. But the next day I was like, oh my God, my chin's shaking. Like I was a mess. And I'm like, how can you can't Google.
You can, Google. But I do.
I do.
I don't anymore now that I have meds, but
look, I'm not a professional.
No.
Obviously, but what I will say is when you Google, look at who you're following. Like there's obviously people out there that are more reliable than others.
Yeah.
But you can find someone that aligns with anything that you want to believe when it comes to your health and wellness. So you know what I mean? Because, so just be cautious about, what
because you'll do anything to like have somebody side with you. Like,
sure,
this is normal.
Absolutely.
Or this is whatever. Yeah. And I remember when I got my first mammogram last year, and I went into it like, okay, like whatever, it is what it is. And when I left, the nurse was like, you may get called back because we have nothing to compare it to.
Yep.
And then I was like, holy cow. And I remember just being arrested. She's like, and if you don't hear from us, you'll get a letter in the mail. And I just like put me in such a bad mood because I'm like, oh my God. And it was fine. Thank God.
I know that callback feeling. Like, oh,
yeah.
Lord. The entire process is so stressful. But, I can tell you this. I have never felt good after Googling any symptom. Like, I have never gone like, oh, I Googled this. Oh, it means I'm happy and I'm going to have a fine day. No, it means I'm going to die and I have 2 days to live. It's like, I have never, it doesn't matter. Twitch in the eye, itch on the face, like everything I've ever Googled give me terminal illness.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So.
Isn't that crazy how you can just like go down like but then
A hole.
but
the rabbit hole.
But in your brain though, do you like understand like this feels a little silly or
No.
I mean, I can get there. Like I can get where I'm like this stop. This is silly.
Like
you
you
don't
don't
have
talk
Lou
yourself
Gehrig's.
off the ledge, kind of like.
Yeah. But in that moment, I do understand how you could spiral off the face of the earth.
I mean, silly, but yeah.
This is also what we have each other for. Like
Totally.
I can be like, you can, or I'll use Jen as an example. She can text Dee and I and say, I have an itch on my face. Like, this is it for me.
Yeah.
And we can say, oh my gosh, get some cortisone.
Yeah.
It's a bug bite.
It's
Whatever.
probably
like,
your dryer
just chill
sheets.
out.
Yeah.
Like,
And then they'll have a private text on the side, like, I want her earrings, and I'll take her. That cute handbag that she has is mine. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
By the way, it's all yours. Yeah.
Write it down.
Maya
Put it
and Lexi
in the will.
Mm-hmm.
will not
Oh
be
my
having
gosh, it's
that.
on camera now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry,
girls.
girl.
I got it.
No,
This
I'm
is
hip
law.
checking. Like, get me in that closet.
But all said and done, I think we all have a lot of good health discussions
Yeah.
on a daily basis. All of us. Sometimes we're being silly and crazy. Sometimes I think we learn
Sure.
a lot from each other. And I think it's important that if you are concerned about something, or if there is something that runs in your family, my advice is to consider possibly a genetic test or some kind of blood test.
Sure.
Because sometimes I'm not saying surgery is a simple thing, but sometimes there's a procedure or something that can help you. And being especially a mom of, at the time, 2 young kids, I was like, I want to be here,
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, knowledge is power.
So that's
There's
the way
no
I
doubt.
looked at it. If other people want to, they don't want to know, it's more comfortable for them, they're living their best life not knowing, that's, hey, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm here for, however people want to do it. But I just wanted to tell and share my story.
Yeah.
I know you two both have had experiences. So I thought it was kind of an important thing that we could talk about today.
It really is.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your stories. We love to hear from you. So please follow us on Instagram, like, subscribe to YouTube, all those fun things. And we appreciate you all. And thank you for being here today.
Bye.